down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. Ha. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Ha. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. Week 7 for the NFL season. So we're getting close to the halfway mark. Couple of weeks. And this week is, as far as I remember, the closest in terms of matchups, like the tightest spreads that I've ever seen in an NFL week. So I'm expecting this one to be a real difficult one. Smokey, how you doing?
Oh, I am good. I am better than Panthers fans right now because they are the last team that does not have a victory in this entire season. And there has never been a team that actually went 0-6 and made the playoffs. So I'm thinking, even though you have your quarterback, is this kind of a tank season for the Panthers? It may be. And I'm about to say Tua. Bryce Young is getting beat up out there. I don't even know if he's going to make it the whole season with the beating he's taken. They are just letting that guy down, and it looks really grim for the Panthers right now. They may be the candidate for the 0-17 season, which we haven't seen one of those yet. We've had 0-16, but no 0-17, and this may be their season.
It was one of my bold predictions.
Yeah.
If you're asking
exactly.
how I am,
yes.
I could go multiple ways with this, but I kind of feel like taking a shot. I think I'm better than Braves fans.
No.
I think I'm
God,
better
that's
than
horrible, man. I have no clue what happened there. How can you be the best team for the entire season? Now, you saw the decline. I don't know if you were watching closely or not, but there was a steep decline at the very end of the season, especially when they're playing the Nationals, a bottom feeder team that they should have easily been stomping out. And they were giving up run after run after run and losing games. They might have even lost that last series to the Nationals. That should have never happened. I thought maybe they were taking it easy, just coasting into the playoffs, but no, there's a real problem there. They have absolutely no defense, which you would think defense is what it is in baseball, right? It's not like the NFL or anything. You should be able to stop the runs as long as you have a decent pitcher. Okay, so you've been shutting teams out all season. Now you're giving up all these runs. You have a 104-win season. That's like, one of the top seasons of all time. There's probably only 30, 40 teams that have done that in the history of baseball. And then you go right into the first round of the playoffs and get stomped out fairly easily. Disappointing, man. I don't know what to think about the Braves. Hopefully they'll pick it up next season, but this making it to the playoffs, the Braves are like this perennial playoff team, right? It's like for the past 30 years you expect the Braves to be in the playoffs. They do it every year, but stomped out in the first round, that happens all too often for a team that's always really good and good enough to make the playoffs every year. You got to bring home some championships. Yes, there was one in 21, but a season like this does not give you hope for the future, that's for sure.
Feels like all the favorites kind of got snuffed out early for some reason.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, absolutely. Dodgers too, right?
Dodgers did. The Orioles 3-0. Yeah.
I think I did see that. All of the 100-win teams got stomped out in the first round. That's crazy.
They're gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
We might see 3-seed versus 4-seed. 4-seed versus 5-seed in the World Series. It's looking like
Phillies and Astros again, probably.
No, Phillies and Texas and Rangers, I'm guessing. Right?
Oh, you think it's Texas?
I hope so. At least I think they'll get it home.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm kind of sick of the Astros, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole world is sick of the Astros at this point.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't mind Texas. But since the Giants aren't playing, unfortunately, I'll probably look at it anyway. It's always fun. But we are here for the NFL Week 7. Now, before we get into this, we have our weekly updates, and I'm going to start with the MVP power rankings this week. For my rating list, not much has changed. Tua at 1. I'm going to keep Purdy at number 2, and I can, upon request, I can justify why I'll do that. Josh Allen to me number 3, Jared Goff number 4, And then I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes in at 5 again. I'm dropping Justin Herbert out this week because he had a pretty mediocre game against Dallas, which is just one that he should have been winning. Receivers didn't do him any favors, but if you're an elite top 5 quarterback, which he is, I think that's the game you have to win at home on Monday night. But Tua, to me, still the front runner. What do you think?
I have the same people as you, just in a different order. I think Tua is far beyond the favorite at this point in time. I'm starting to see his name actually pop up. I think the odds makers are probably catching on too, that Tua is the best quarterback in the NFL at this time. I'll drop Brock all the way to 5, and I'll go ahead and give you my second is Jared Goff, because that team is on fire. And as long as he can command that offense well enough to keep winning, his name is going to be mentioned right up there. I don't think he's anywhere near Tua at this time. But yeah, it's kind of a bottleneck after that. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Brock Purdy all bringing up the rear. But as for right now, I think Tua is the number 1 favorite of all.
That's fair. Odds makers do have Tua favored for the first time this week. You're correct about that.
I thought I saw a headline about that. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he is this year. We see the superstars not performing up to par in a lot of games. Yeah, they've all had decent games. They've all had good games. Even Josh Allen had a really good game, but he's had his bad games also. So has Patrick Mahomes. We saw that Brock Purdy finally had a bad game. Jared Goff and Tua are the only ones who really just haven't went out there and had a horrible game. And Tua has had great games all season. One loss, but he still played decent in that game. So I think he's far beyond number 1 right now.
You're currently getting 21-1 odds on Jared Goff. I think that seems really good. Like Jalen Hurts is 9-1.
Wow, really?
Yeah, which makes of course no sense at all. Like Jalen Hurts has not been a top 10 quarterback this year.
No,
but
not at all.
21. That might be worth a shot right there.
Yes, because Tua is prone to injury, and if he gets hurt, you're going to cash in on that.
You just might, yeah. I might put $5 on that right now. In fact, I will.
It's a good idea.
21 looks like a good number there. But for everyone watching, as I'm live betting on the show, before everyone watching, the weekly MVP votings are out, of course, on the channel page. You can go ahead and vote for your favorite. Last week, I'm proud to announce Brock Purdy actually received the majority of the votes at 40%. Tua with 33%, and then Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, which were the 2 eligible vote getters that week. At 12 and 16. So we'll see how it goes this week. I'm expecting it to shift back to Tua, but we'll let the people speak. So on our channel page, you can go and vote for who your current MVP is if the season ended today. Now, we have this game that we play, as you are at this point familiar with, and you're incredibly, surprisingly, really, really good at, and I think you've won it like half the times, which is guess the biggest spread, where you guess the biggest spread of all the games of next week. And I already took it away and told you that this one is extremely tough. Well, rather not tough, but there's a lot of very, very tight games, a lot of 3-point games or less. So what is your pick for the biggest spread of week 7?
You're absolutely right, especially after last week. I think all these spreads probably closed in. Looking at this, there are some really tight games. It's going to be tough for our predictions this week, but I could say that the 49ers should be favored over the Vikings, but we know the Vikings can score with that offense, even though they have some key players out. So that should be a somewhat maybe a 5-point spread, I would imagine. The Dolphins over the Eagles should be much more than probably what it is. They still have that Eagles of last season in mind, so I bet they got that closer than what I'm thinking. The only other things, Packers over the Broncos should be a decent spread, but probably not because there's no faith in the Packers. The only thing I can see that stands out this week is a really stagnant offense going up against a super team that has been underperforming, but they are still a super team. That is the Bills over the Pats.
You got it right.
All right. Yes.
You got it right one more time. It is actually close. There's one matchup. Bills, by the way, 8.5 points at New England.
Wow, yeah.
There is one other game, which is the second closest at -8, which you didn't mention at all.
Really? Who is it?
And I could just tell you because it makes it. I don't see it at all. It's Seattle over the Cardinals.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
They are a big favorite, 8 points. I don't know if I like that one. I might take the Cardinals +8.
Maybe so. I mean, the Cardinals have played over their heads in many games this year, and the Seahawks, by all means, has played under expectations. So that might be a good bet to make. I think the Seahawks still win, but it might be a
probably
good bet.
They probably win 75% of the time. 8 points is a lot. We'll talk about these games, and maybe you'll see if I like the odds. Maybe I'll take it. We have Thursday night. One of the big question marks already. Actually, before the games. What is our standing considering last week?
Yeah, we tied last week. We both had 10. We disagreed on 4. The Ravens and the Titans. I had the Ravens. The Vikings and the Bears. You had the Vikings. The Saints and Texans. I had the Texans. And the Cowboys and Chargers. You picked the Cowboys for some weird reason to justify it in your head, and it worked somehow. The Chargers.
Worked. Yes.
Chargers should have won that game, though.
See, my logic worked. Because I picked the Cowboys, I now come in without having lost a point, so I'm happy. Had the Chargers won, I'd have been down 2 points, but I'd still be happy because the Cowboys just lost.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for me that way.
Hey, that's logic there.
Perfect. Impeccable. So 10-10. Nothing much changed then in the overall standings. Let's see how we go.
54-58, week. By the way.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Retaining the lead. Let's see how it goes this week. Big question mark, of course, over Trevor Lawrence. We have the Jaguars on a short week at the Saints.
Yeah, this is really tough because if Trevor Lawrence was definitely a go, I am definitely picking the Jaguars. That's the one of only 2 teams that actually blew out another team last week when they beat the Colts 37-20. The team was firing on all cylinders. Some people are still kind of disappointed with Trevor Lawrence's play, but I say he was playing efficient in that game. The Saints, on the other hand, did not have a great week when they went down to the Texans that the Falcons beat last week. I want the Saints fans to know that. You just lost to the team that the Falcons beat, so you have that going for you. But short week, Trevor Lawrence might not be playing. This is in New Orleans. It's tough to pick the Jaguars here. It really is. I don't have any faith in the Saints, but they have pulled off some decent wins this season. Man, that's tough. I guess I'm going to take the home team because it's so tough. I hate picking the Saints in the first place, but if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, especially on that short week, the Saints might win even if Trevor Lawrence plays. He's injured. He's got the knee injury. And I'm going to hope for the Jaguars to win. I will be picking the Saints at home.
All right, let's have a disagreement here. First game, kick it off in a spicy manner. I'll take Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence will do anything humanely or humanly possible in order to play, and that is because this division is tighter than they expected at the start of the season. I believe the Jaguars came into the season thinking sort of halfway they'll be up on second place by like 2 or 3 games. They'll be comfortable, but they're not. The Texans keep winning for some reason. They look all right. The Titans and the Colts are not good games, not good teams. They kind of look like in purgatory, but they get wins here and there, and it's kind of difficult to really say where they're going in the future. So Jacksonville, I think, is not feeling as comfortable as they wanted to. They've dropped some games themselves, and that means that all hands on deck. If Trevor can play, Trevor has to play. And if you are a playoff team, which the Jacksonville Jaguars are and see themselves as, you got to beat teams like the Saints, the mediocre teams in the league. You have to beat them. Doesn't matter what field you're on, doesn't matter what time. You got to win, and I think Jacksonville gets it done and rights the ship here. Lions at the Ravens.
Another tough one here. But the Lions are on fire, so we have that on our side. A lot of people are going to say, these teams didn't score a ton of points. You got 24 out of the Ravens last week and 20 out of the Lions. But the Lions didn't need to score, to tell you the truth. That defense held the Buccaneers to 6 points and shut down Baker Mayfield fairly well. They didn't need to, so they have that in their corner. But then again, like 23 teams, I believe, last week scored 20 points or less. I think it was something in the air also. There was only 2 blowouts, like I said, 2 teams that scored 30 points or higher. And that's very unusual this day and age in the NFL. I think it was something in the air. But the Lions at this time are much better than the Ravens. And I am going to be picking the Lions on the road.
I fully agree with that. The Lions win. I'm perplexed by the odds here because the Ravens are somehow 3-point favorites at home, which means that even on a neutral field, they're saying like it's a pick'em. I don't quite get that. I feel like Detroit's been so much more reliable. I guess they're not as flashy of a team, even though they kind of are. I don't know. Maybe Jared Goff still has this like curse on him or something. Like people just don't believe him. Like Lamar Jackson won the MVP and he's been overrated ever since. And I guess Jared Goff got kicked out by the Rams and he's been underrated ever since. And it feels like a really hard habit to break, even for odds makers. But the Lions are just a better team. So I don't get the spread. And I'm taking them to win at Baltimore. Raiders and the Bears. Tank Bowl.
Tank Bowl right here. One of these teams is coming off of a win, though, and one of them is missing their star quarterback. Some people won't agree that he's a star, but the guy can help them win teams, especially against teams like the Raiders. He's not going to be there. He's got that thumb issue. He can't even grip the ball right now, so it will not be him starting this game. The Raiders coming off of a win over a horrible Patriots team, 21-17. That proves that their defense is easily scored on, because I think the Patriots didn't score a single point in the past 2 games before that. And then they were able to muster up 17 in that Mac Jones-led offense. So therefore the Raiders have a horrible defense, but so do the Bears. Good news for Raiders fans. I will be picking you guys on the road.
Feels difficult to do because the Raiders also may be missing their quarterback. In fact, I'm pretty sure they are. Jimmy Garoppolo, Glass Bones, Jimmy Glass Bones, whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
It's a sad story, man. He just can't stay healthy, and he's on the wrong side of 30 now. I don't know if he's going to get another big contract the way he's going, but it feels like this happens every single season. This time it's a back issue. He had to leave that game. The Bears played better offense without Justin Fields last week, and they almost mounted a comeback there, which just barely didn't happen, but they looked more productive without him. This is a tank bowl. This is a sad state of affairs. I'll take the Raiders on account of their defense. I think they rush the passer, and Max Crosby's a great player. Other than that, though, Josh Jacobs is missing in action somehow. He hasn't been there. Same for Devontae Adams. I don't know what's going on with this team, but with the inconsistent availability of the quarterback is, no surprise. I think the Raiders are down in the basement, even though they just won. So are the Bears, but I'm taking Vegas. Browns at the Colts.
Man, that Browns defense is pretty good, huh? You saw a lot of them last week.
Real good if you got 12, 13 players on people on the field, 2 of which have the power to throw flags.
Yeah. I mean, you could always blame it on the refs, I guess. That was a PJ Walker Browns that beat the 49ers there. You could also blame it on San Francisco's rookie kicker, I guess. There's that. Still, this is tough, though, because you would think the Browns, coming off of a win over the 49ers, they have to be way better than the Colts, right? The Colts got blown out by the Jaguars. Like, yeah, they got to be much better. I don't know. I really don't know, because it's still PJ Walker. If Deshaun Watson's back, they're probably going to blow out the Colts, and it'll be a huge win for them. But the Colts are bad. They're missing their star quarterback also, which don't even know if that really helps that much. Gardner Minshew is serviceable, but not enough against that defense. Myles Garrett is going to run over Gardner Minshew. I'll take the Browns on the road.
Give me the Browns to win the game. See what the Colts, I don't know. Stuck in purgatory, though. I don't necessarily see the Browns as a great team. I feel bad for the Browns. Because after this game, and I will get to it, that fan base is going to start believing they can do something. Like the Browns fans right now are uttering the word playoffs. and it's easier to stomach that you're not making the playoffs if you never expected them to, right? Like, losing this week won't hurt Panthers fans. It won't. Yeah. Not that much. But if your team like the Browns and you have these hallucinations every once in a while, and like fate kind of plays along with you, and you think you can do something, Browns fans are in for a rude awakening. But as for the game, I mean, it was probably the least worrying loss I've ever seen out of the Niners, or any team for that matter, and people want to tear them down or tear Brock Purdy down. They should still be number one in the power rankings, I have no doubt. It took everything coming together for them to lose that game in the last second by a single score. I mean, 1 in a billion. What are the odds that in the same game, Debo and McCaffrey are hurt and are out? What are the odds that Brandon Ayuk, the most reliable possession receiver on the team, drops 2 touchdowns and 1 more wide open pass? What are the odds that the rookie kicker, highest drafted kicker in a long time, misses 2 crucial field goals? What are the odds that the league employs Stevie Wonder as a line judge and they just see targeting penalties that don't exist? All together in one game, and then Brock Purdy still goes down and leads them to a game-winning drive. Which, if Jake Moody makes that kick, Brock Purdy is the MVP frontrunner this week, because he led the game-winning drive in heroic fashion. That is the only thing that separates that story from the Tom Brady Super Bowl stories is Adam Vinatieri versus a rookie kicker. That's literally the only difference. So I'm not worried in the slightest about the Niners in any way. I feel a bit sorry for the Browns because they think they just beat the best team. They're going to be a great team or an elite team, and they're not. And I think that illusion will keep up as they beat the Colts this year. But I still don't see them really go much past 8-9 wins, Cleveland. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, it's Indy, so they are going to win. Bills and the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest spread for a reason. Because the Pats put up a few points last week, it doesn't mean much because, like I said, that Raiders defense is absolutely horrible. Outside of Crosby, I know Crosby is a great player, but that team just bleeds points to everyone, especially the Patriots. And the Patriots, like I said, hadn't been able to score for the past 2 weeks before that. The Bills, on the other hand, did not have a great showing, but they did what it took to get a win over the Giants. But everybody had a bad showing outside of 2 teams, so you can't hold that against them. The Bills on the road are going to roast the Patriots in this one.
All right. How do I set this up the best way? You told me about this weird guru guy who makes predictions based on all sorts of weird theories coming together.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna do that. Right. I'm gonna do something like that. Now, I'm not gonna go as wild and insane about it. But okay. I'll just ask this: the Bills have lost 2 games so far this season, right? Who have they lost to?
Who was it? The Jaguars, and who else did they lose to?
Oh, they lost. No, wait. No, never mind. My theory falls apart. I forgot they lost to Jacksonville as well. So there's no more pattern there. Okay, never mind. I wanted to take the Patriots, but now the logic doesn't make sense anymore. I guess it never made sense to begin with. I'll take Buffalo to win. They hung on. They hung on against the Giants. They might as well have lost that game, by the way. It didn't look great. Didn't look convincing at all. And they definitely are missing Matt Milano and Trey White. There's some issues there on defense, but they just about got it done. Didn't convince me, but luckily they're playing against the weakest team in the division. So Buffalo should chain wins together here and beat New England. The Washingtons at the aforementioned Giants.
Yeah, I mean, judging off of last week, the Giants putting up 9 points against the Bills. A lot of people would say the Commanders should easily win this one, right? Because they played the Falcons and they got the win over the Falcons. But the Falcons outplayed the Commanders in that game. If you can defend the 49ers loss to the Browns, I'm going to defend the Falcons loss to the Commanders. They got outplayed. The Falcons throughout that game was much better. Now, there was the turnovers and the red zone scoring issue for the Falcons. That's why they did not win that game. If Desmond Ridder can stop with the interceptions and they can actually score when they get into the red zone, they're going to beat a lot of teams. The Commanders are not as good as it seems with that 3-3 record. I don't think they are. A lot of people believe in them for some weird reason. I like Sam Howell as a quarterback, but I don't think he's that great. The Giants are on a horrible season run right now, but with Saquon Barkley being back, this is going to give that team somewhat of a boost. And I think overall, regardless of record, the Giants are better than the Commanders at this time. A lot of people are going to hate that and they're going to disagree. I know. But I do believe in the talent of the Giants that they could put something together at some point and turn the season around. I don't think they're playoff bound at this point. Maybe not even. I think they could go over 500 if they do well. I'm going to take the Giants at home to beat the Commanders here.
I love Saquon Barkley. That's a good one because he gets injured all the time and then he has to come back. They should establish that nickname. Actually, I do like it.
Absolutely.
The Giants looked pretty good, I must say, against the Bills, and they were a yard away at the end of the day from winning the game, which is more than anyone expected from them. Here's the problem I have with this one. The teams are evenly matched, I believe, or as close as it gets. But the biggest strength of the Washington Commies lines up perfectly against the biggest weakness of the Giants, and that's going to be pass protection and protecting the quarterback, who, by the way, I don't know if it'll be Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor for the Giants, but the Giants' offensive line is an absolute patchwork. They've experienced so many injuries. Both their starting tackles are having troubles, and they're rotating all over the place. Washington can rush the passer. That is one thing they really, truly excel at. If you have all those guys healthy, they will get after you. And I think, quite simply, that's what's going to make the difference in this game. I think whoever the Giants quarterback is, they'll be forced into too many mistakes. I'm expecting like 7-8 sacks from Washington in this one, and that's too much. That's just going to be the difference. So, Commanders win at New York. Your Falcons, key game at Tampa Bay.
It is, and I really don't know what to make of it. I really don't, because I know the Bucs have been bad at points in this season, and they've been really good, but so have the Falcons. Like I said, the Falcons are actually showing flashes of being a good team. There's just something holding them back in the red zone, and Desmond Ridder is almost on or off. It's almost a Jekyll and Hyde situation, and it happens throughout the course of a game. It's not like he's having complete bad games or complete good games. There was one, that 3-point game. But other than that, Desmond Ridder has these spurts where he's showing flashes of how good he could be, but then he makes a mistake somewhere along the line, and it seems to shut him down for a little while, and then there are games where he can come back and overcome that. Is he going to do it here? That's the tough question. This is in Tampa Bay, and Ridder has played really well at home and really bad on the road so far this season. I really want the Falcons to win here, but I don't know if I'm just wasting a pick on the Falcons or not. Have they put it together? I still think this offense could be much flashier than what it is. It's still kind of stale in the long run. You know what? I'm the pessimist here. I'll take the Bucs at home. The Bucs.
Oh, you think you're the only pessimist here when it comes to this? See, I don't really have much optimism or pessimism involved when it comes to this particular game. Though I think I would still like the Falcons to win, but I have to agree with you. I'll take the Bucs. It's just the inconsistency for the Falcons, for Atlanta. That is my worry. Yeah, they could come out and suddenly that offense can click, even for just a half or for 3 quarters, and they'll put 30 up on you, and that's enough against most teams, and that's going to be enough against Tampa Bay. But I'm just not sure if they will. It's like they roll the dice every time if they're able to do it, and I can't pick inconsistency like that. I'll take the slightly less promising but more consistent team in the Bucs to win at home. Steelers and Rams.
This is the only game on the slate where I have not circled my pick yet. Because these teams... Have you? You go first. Go first. Give me your explanation.
First? Okay, yes. I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll take Pittsburgh because it's a close enough game. I don't like the Rams, and I want them to lose. And I don't want them to make the playoffs. And I think, the Rams are, with the return of Cooper Kupp, they've been good. I'm not gonna lie, they've been good on offense because they have Nakua, they have Atwell, they have a real receiving core now, and for some reason Kyron Williams also seems to be really good. They seem to have struck gold with their draft class, but what the last we've seen from the Steelers was them actually performing pretty well. That offense started clicking. Pickens connection started clicking. I think it'll keep going. I think they go into LA and they win a scrappy game. At least I hope they do, and that's why I'm picking it.
I kind of hope they do also, because I picked them to win this division, so I need them to start adding some games up here. The division is up for grabs at this point, so they're going to have to go out and take it if they want it. Now, like you said, the Rams' offense is absolutely firing. Kyron Williams has an injury, so we may be seeing Zach Evans take the lead running back role there. Another rookie, but a promising rookie at that. He was a highly drafted high school recruit that was supposed to do much more in college, and it kind of fizzled out toward the end, but he still has that elite athlete in him if the Rams can bring it out of him, if he's the starting running back here. I don't know, man. I might just take the veteran over the young quarterback here. I want the Steelers to do well. I like the team. I like all the pieces there. I love George Pickens, but I can't. Man, Stafford is consistent when he's not injured, so I'll be taking the Rams at home.
All right, that's a fair pick. Probably the smart pick, all things considered, but I'm still sticking with the Steelers. Cardinals and Seattle.
Yeah, this game right here should not be the spread that you called out earlier. I don't think so. Yeah, records are one thing, but watch these teams play. The Cards are better than they should be, and the Seahawks are worse than they should be. Geno is not a superstar quarterback. That's the reason he ended up with the Seahawks and didn't have a decent year until his 5th or 6th year in the league. So he's not going to go out there and put the team on his back and win if they get behind. On the other hand, you have almost the same situation, just without the wins, when you got Josh Dobbs playing for the Cardinals. Not a lot of flashy pieces on the Cardinals, I'll tell you that, but all in all, the Seahawks should win this one, but I would not be surprised if the Cards keep this close or actually pull out a victory. But to be safe, I'll take the Seahawks at home.
Yep, I agree. I'll take the Seahawks, though I'm going to, if I had to bet, I'm still mulling over it. Cardinals +8 is a very tempting spread there. That's a lot of points. And I guess the Cardinals are sort of like the season-long wildcard team, because you never know what they're really going to put together. But I'm rooting for them. I rooted for them to beat the Rams. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because I don't want any of these other teams making the playoffs, and Seattle currently is the biggest threat. But I don't believe it. I think Seattle's going to win, and I guess the Niners will have to dispatch them themselves because they're not getting any help from the other teams. +8 for the Cardinals still looks good to me. Packers or Broncos?
Looking over it, as bad as these two teams are, this might be a shootout game right here. This might actually be a shootout. A lot of times I can look at this and say, these are two bad teams with really good offenses, and for fantasy purposes, I'm always looking for the shootout. This might be it on this. A lot of people are going to pick the Chargers and Chiefs. This might be the 37-40 game right here. Both of these teams, when they are playing horrible defenses, can score a ton of points. There's no doubt about it. And both of these are horrible defenses. Do I want to go with Russell Wilson or Jordan Love? You know what? Coming off of a bye, and as bad as Sean Payton has had the Broncos looking, I'm going to go out on a limb. And maybe I don't even know what the spread is, but I'll take the Packers on the road.
Spread is even, so there is no limb to go out on here at this point. I'll take the Packers, though, because the Broncos just look that bad. I might be able to interest you in this over-under here. 44.5, if you're calling this a shootout.
Yeah. It worked for The Bears and the Commanders, so I might take that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That was 60 combined points, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
44.5 that's I would say that's average. That's average on a week-to-week basis. So we're not expecting too many points. We should add more games. We should guess the biggest and lowest over/under as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Do you have a guess just on the spot for highest lowest over/under this week?
Probably Chiefs and Chargers.
That's the Dolphins Eagles actually with the highest at 52.
Okay. Well, that makes sense also. Yeah, they're both high-powered offenses, but the Eagles aren't as good as the odds makers think they are for some reason.
Lowest is the Raiders and Bears.
Yeah, well, I could see that. If they're both missing, is Brian Hoyer versus I forgot the quarterback's name, Baguette or whatever his name is.
Baguette, yeah, something like that, something very similar. Yeah. I have to look it up as well. It's like something with a T, I believe.
Badgett.
Oh, Tyler Badgett, something. Badgett could
Tyson.
Be right.
Tyson Badgett.
Tyson
yeah,
Badgett. There we go.
It.
All right.
Yeah.
Names we don't know. That's doesn't inspire confidence if that's your quarterback.
Yeah, he wasn't on my draft board for sure.
No. But honestly, they look better with him than with Fields last week. So we'll see.
Well, last week with the injury, yeah.
I have the Packers at Denver. I think Denver's terrible, and they're cleaning out house. They need more of a rebuild than just 1 year at this point. I don't think Wilson's going to be it. Maybe Sean Payton's not going to be it, but I guess he'll get a little bit more time. Yeah. You just mentioned the really good game, the highlight game here. Chargers and the Chiefs. What do we got?
Oh, both of them are coming off of low-scoring weeks, so I'm sure a lot of people want to see a shootout in this one. The Chargers got to get something rolling. Like, you can't keep taking these losses. It looked like they were starting to put it together, but the Cowboys' defense was just too much, and they held them to 17, and they just couldn't quite get over that Cowboys hump. Although the Cowboys' offense was not great in that game. They should have won that game. The Chargers should have won, but here we are. You're sitting here at 2-3 right now against the Chiefs, who, even though they're not playing up to par, it's not looking like the Chiefs of old. They're still winning games. And that's the only thing we can go with right here, is that the trends are that the Chargers are losing games and the Chiefs are still winning games. Regardless of how they get it done, I'll take the Chiefs at home.
It's unimaginable. I don't understand how Justin Herbert has not won a playoff game yet. He's in, his third season of starting? He's been an elite quarterback since the very first game. Somehow, I don't know what it is. This team, on paper, they have one of the best defenses. On paper, in practice, they're one of the worst. Receiving core, you have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. You add the TCU standout, Johnston, to him. You have Austin Eckler, one of the best receiving running backs in the league. I don't understand what's up with the Chargers. I don't get it anymore. They replaced the offensive coordinator. I thought Kellen Moore would be a huge upgrade because he did miracles carrying the Cowboys offense at times. It's just that they're just always mediocre. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Something's not right with the Chargers. And I expected this to be more of a close game than it is. I hope the Chargers kind of play up to the competition here one time, because I really want this to be like the big divisional clash, the new Brady versus Peyton kind of situation. But if the Chargers can't support Herbert in that, and also if Herbert makes mistakes like he did against the Cowboys very uncharacteristically, I just don't think he will be. I think the Chiefs are just very much consistently outcoaching the Chargers in all spots, so maybe something there has to change for LA. But yeah, I have to pick the Chiefs. Hope it's going to be a close one, but gotta pick Kansas City. Another barn burner here on Sunday night on primetime. The Dolphins and the Eagles.
Just back up for 1 second. You mentioned the Brady and Peyton thing and Justin Herbert throwing his name in the hat. He plays well. But if this team never wins, he's going to end up being the Phillip Rivers of this equation.
Yeah, it's weird that, like, how can... because the same thing happened with Rivers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Herbert comes in, and he's arguably a better quarterback than Rivers, just talent-wise. And Rivers was a damn good quarterback. They never won with Rivers. Never
Yeah.
even made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think he didn't even make it. Did he even make it to a championship game?
I don't think not that I remember.
They might have not even done that.
No, I don't think so. It's crazy to think, man.
Yes, I don't know. Something is wrong with that organization.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand. I'll get it.
yeah, hopefully they can turn it around here. But the Dolphins and the Eagles, there is one reason why I'm picking one team here is because they are on an absolute tear this year, and they have the standing right now the MVP of this season at quarterback. The Eagles are playing under where they should be. Everybody wants to adjust for them because of what they did last season. But you can watch these games and see that the Eagles' offense is not what it was last year. Hurts is not doing the same things he did last year. I think it's the league is figuring out how to stop the gimmicky offense when you have Hurts back there. And the tush push doesn't work every single time like it did last year. I'm going to take the Dolphins over the Eagles on the road because I don't know if they can be stopped at this point.
This is Tua versus Jalen Hurts. There's some history in this one.
Oh man, what was it last week? Oh yeah, it was Bryce versus Tua last week. Now we get Jalen versus Tua this week.
Mm-hmm. And you know who's also?
Is it Mac Jones next week?
Is it?
I haven't looked at it.
I'd look it up. That would be insane. But it is Jalen and Tua, who of course played together at Alabama. And we all of us fondly remember the exact moment that Tua came in for Jalen Hurts and threw that game-winning touchdown pass.
Not fondly. No, not fondly.
Guess who's also involved in this game? Devontae Smith, who dispatched and put away Georgia in that game.
Yeah,
so
I remember. I'm not going to say fondly, but I remember it.
I believe you. I remember fondly. That is when I started really liking Tua. But this game has some history to it. Now Devontae Smith back with Jalen Hurts, and but Miami, like the Dolphins, also with some
Waddle.
Alabama players. Yeah, Waddle. So this has history, and I think this is going to be an instant classic. It's prime time. It's national television, and it's going to be two of the sort of popular young innovative head coaches.
Oh. Think about this though. The Eagles has the Georgia's defense.
They do.
Of the past 3 seasons, and they have Swift. Wow, this is a couple of national championships right here playing together.
There's a lot of Alabama and Georgia in this game.
Yeah,
a whole lot.
That's crazy.
Wow. Where's McCole Hardman? Because he was on Georgia at that time, right?
He's with the Jets now.
He's with the Jets. Okay, I last remembered him.
He
with
caught
the
a
Chiefs.
touchdown in that game also from Jake Fromm.
Oh, okay. He's with the Jets. Yeah, this is that is a historic game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good one. I'm taking the Dolphins as well, mainly because I was rooting so hard for the Jets last week, and after the Niners lost in like the way they never should have, and I was dreading I wasn't dreading like the Niners getting torn down. I know they're still the best team. Well, the thing I was dreading was the gloating Eagles. I was dreading people like Hurts and like Jason Kelsey to come out and dress up like clowns again and give speeches about, and then Nick Sirianni more than ever. We're the only undefeated team, and then Jalen Hurts plays the worst game of his career and throws back-breaking interceptions, and somehow they lose to the Jets. To the Jets. And you know what? I'm fine. I'm good. Fine with me. In fact, they're going to have back-to-back losses here. They are going to lose to the Dolphins, which not ashamed to lose to the Dolphins. But one thing that surprises me, because we both kind of agree that the Eagles are a very shaky 5-1, whereas teams like the Dolphins are very confident 5-1. The Eagles could easily be 3-3, as some things fell the other way, and they're not playing nearly as good as they were last year. The Eagles are 2-point favorites in this game.
Wow.
They're at home.
Not fair. That's not fair at all.
They're getting the 3 points, so they're saying on a neutral field, Dolphins -1 or nearly a pick'em. That's I would give this, if this was a pick'em in Philly, I'd be fine with it. But giving them extra points for being at home, I don't know. I feel like they're overrating them a little bit because Jalen has not played well. Like, he is very average this year, and Tua obviously is the MVP frontrunner. We'll see how it comes down here, but yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins for sure. I also prefer them, so I'm rooting for them, but I think they will win. Monday night, we have the Niners and the Vikings.
Another primetime Niners game. Imagine that.
Hey, they belong there at least, not like Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, true, but I guess at least the Cowboys won last time. But they've been getting a ton of them, I'll tell you that. But they are one of the blue blood teams, so you kind of expect it. You know, you're going to see the 49ers in primetime. You're going to see the Cowboys in primetime. You're going to see the Steelers in primetime. That's just how it happens. Although they haven't been getting it as much as the other three.
No, because the Steelers have, I guess they're not as flashy or not as recently flashy. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But the Vikings are not good. They're going to be even worse. This is an offense that can score. So if they were at 100%, I would say they're going to give the 49ers a run. Their defense is very soft. You guys should get Purdy back going in this one. But you're not going to have Debo or McCaffrey unless some things change, which actually, I don't know. It's kind of iffy from what I've been hearing. But early when these two went out, it was almost a done deal. Like, no, they're not going to play against the Vikings. But I guess now it's really up in the air whether those two play. If they do, you guys are going to blow the Vikings out of the water. There's no doubt about it because the Vikings are definitely missing Justin Jefferson. They're going to have to get Addison going, which he hasn't quite broken out yet. He's definitely no Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I'll take the 49ers on the road. It should be fairly easy, even if they're missing pieces.
Yeah, I really haven't heard anything about Debo, especially with McCaffrey. They've at least said he's questionable officially. They don't know if he can make it or not for this game. With Debo Samuel, I haven't heard anything. Do you know what is his status like in fantasy? What is he considered as questionable or?
I can pull it up here.
Does he have a status? I haven't heard anything. That's sure. They got his shoulder X-ray. There's nothing there.
Let's see. Pulling on my app right now. There's Debo. He is still just listed as questionable. Let's see if there's any updates. Considered day-to-day with a shoulder injury. A shoulder injury. Time will tell if Samuel is on the gridiron this week. The 49ers rely on his after-touch skills. So he is a good play if active in Minnesota. So, yep, still up in the air.
Okay. I would be very confident in this game, like 90+%, if one of them played. If both don't play, that we've seen how much that hurts the offense because suddenly all the dynamism is gone, right? Because they're interchangeable. They're more or less the same player, McCaffrey and Samuel. Having both of them active at the same time, they're unstoppable. Having one of them active at the same time, they are very hard to stop. Both of them missing, that's a significant hit. I think they'll get it right. I think Purdy will get it right. I think Jake Moody will get it right. I think Ayuk will get it right. All those players made big mistakes last week. And this is a get-right game for the Niners. I think they're going to win. Maybe they had a bit of a wake-up call. Maybe that's actually a good thing as we go into the sort of harder part of the schedule and towards the playoffs. Maybe it came at the right time. But Monday night, after a long break against the Vikings, they'll get it right, and they are going to win comfortably here. So how many disagreements do we have here, right?
I am counting them up.
I took the Jaguars. 3. I remember that first.
You got the Jaguars, I got the Saints. You have the Commanders, I have the Giants.
Right.
And you have the Steelers, I have the Rams.
Did you take the Packers or the Broncos?
I took the Packers.
Okay.
Yeah,
we agreed on that one.
Yeah.
So three games.
Won't have a tie this week.
No tie this, that's right. Unless there's a game that's tied.
Yeah, exactly.
Somehow one of the ones we do. Yeah. I think it won't be then. So that's good. But yeah, we have 6 teams on bye. Panthers, kind of irrelevant at this point. Bengals might not love this bye week because they're just in an upswing, right?
Yeah.
I think they probably wanted to play. this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are still saying that Joe Burrow is just not looking. You know what? I actually heard some people saying that they should have taken Tua. The Bengals fans are saying they should have taken Tua instead of Joe Burrow. Which, I mean, right now it looks like it would have been a good idea, but Burrow has not just fallen off the map. Like, he's still an elite quarterback. I don't know.
I can probably find a 5 or 10 game stretch somewhere in history that Alex Smith was better than Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to like pick your sample size exactly how many, yeah, you can make every argument. Usually, I'm a fan of comparing those and like saying, oh, this was a good pick, this was a bad pick with the quarterbacks. In that draft class, Burrow, Herbert, and Tua, and Chargers and Dolphins fans do this all the time because I think they have even more of a vendetta against Herbert and Tua than Burrow for some reason, because Burrow was kind of unanimously the number one pick. But a lot of people wanted Herbert over Tua, and now that Tua's playing better than Herbert this year, some people feel justified about it's such a, to me this is an extremely dumb argument because all three are very good picks. Like if you're on the clock with those three and on the board, you can't really go wrong, and that's a great problem to have. That's a really good thing for all three teams. So I don't think at this point it makes much sense to compare the decision to draft Burrow to Herbert to Tua. All three are home run picks. They're all really, really good quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
That's all there is to it. Yeah, all of them are going to have downswings. Like Burrow was hurt for a year and he's playing bad sometimes. Tua was hurt for a long time and he plays bad sometimes. Herbert not hurt yet, but he has down games as well, and he hasn't really been winning playoff games. Phil Rivers, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad.
I think a lot of people
no bad options.
They get that buyer's remorse at a time like this, though. They're like, well, maybe Burrow is showing his true colors finally, because he was a transfer in college and he had one phenomenal season, which I'll disagree with him and say he played well in 2018, also before that super run in 2019. But Tua was also considered to be the number one pick for 2.5 seasons before that hip injury. And that's what dropped him to number 8 overall instead of number 1. But then again, with the run that the LSU Tigers had in 2019, how could you not go with Burrow? Like, that was the greatest offense ever seen in college football.
And it's not like he turned into a scrub in the NFL. Like, he went to back-to-back championship games.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely.
That doesn't happen by accident. He turned
Bowl.
the franchise around. The franchise around. So did Tua. And so hopefully Herbert will, or kind of did to a degree.
Maybe. Or maybe, they're just sitting back saying we should have taken Big Ben instead of Phillip Rivers.
way back.
Yeah, exactly.
Way back.
Yeah,
no, I think that's also another class, like the Ben, Rivers, and Eli conversation.
It was.
Like you could argue that Eli is probably the worst of the three quarterbacks, but still, like he's played for a long time and he's won. There's no bad picks. Like I don't see the reason to overthink it. It's not like we're comparing a team that drafted Mitch Trubisky when Mahomes was on the board.
Yeah, like the Bears did.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Nagy.
That is a very different situation.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure there was a time where some Falcons fans got mad and said, we should have taken Joe Flacco. Like, no, we shouldn't have. No. But it happens.
Falcons took Desmond Ridder when Brock Purdy was on the board.
Well, yeah, but, I mean... Purdy needed the 49ers. I think Purdy would not work in the Atlanta offense. To be nice about it, I'll say
maybe
that.
Maybe not, but maybe he would.
I think he was the perfect guy for Shanahan.
He is, no doubt. But he's doing it very well. Like, he's doing it to perfection. He's probably the best quarterback he's had. And he's had Matt Ryan, he's had Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he fits right up in there. He's doing it just as good, with more potential even.
I'm satisfied with Ridder, though. I think he's shown flashes that he can be good. Yeah, he's probably taking more development than a lot of these guys that we just talked about over Tua, but he was a 3rd-round pick for that reason. I don't think I would have taken Pickett over Ritter, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
I think the kid has a lot of potential. He came from Cincinnati, but he was a winner at Cincinnati. That's not even a Power 5 team, and he made the playoffs, which no other non-Power 5 team has ever done. But Ritter commanded a team that did that. I don't know. I think he has a lot of potential. I think it's going to work out eventually. He just needs a lot of development.
That's fair. Maybe 10 years from now, when Purdy has won 2 or 3 MVPs, we'll look at it differently.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe Ritter gets one of them in there somewhere.
Okay. Oh well, possible.
Yeah.
Possible. We'll see. Speaking of college, by the way, this is NFL predictions, so it looks. I guess the Georgia thing. I don't have to ask you every week, right? Until they lose or something bad happens, you're gonna keep rolling with them, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't play as well as they should have following up that game, but they didn't need to against Vanderbilt. They dominated the game. They didn't even lose like the Falcons did. They absolutely dominated that game. If you look at the stats, it was not even close. They just happened to give up a few points. Now, the troubling part is that Brock Bowers is probably done for the season. He's going to have tightrope surgery, and we will not see Brock Bowers again, most likely, unless he shows up for the playoffs or something like that, because it's like a 4 to 6 week recovery time, and Georgia does not let players come back until they are absolutely ready. George Pickens got injured in the offseason, his final season at Georgia, and did not show up until the SEC championship game and only played 1 snap in that game. So I doubt we're going to see Brock Bowers again until the NFL draft, unless, he is absolutely Superman and recovers extremely quick. Now that's troubling, but Georgia has 5 stars all over the place. Every single year is a top 5 recruiting class. They have 52 scholarships like everyone else. They should have people ready to go. And other than that, dude, Oregon lost that game to Washington, and Michael Penix in the last part of that game, I don't think Caleb Williams played horrible this past week. Michael Penix is the number 1 draft pick at this time.
Wow.
After this past week.
Wow. I don't know if a lot of people agree with that. I agree that Caleb Williams had his worst game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
Michael Penix is good, though.
He's good. There's so many good quarterbacks, though. There's so many good ones.
This draft class is going to be fun. Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to. They're forcing me to think here every week. Like, who am I rooting for? I will say this. Listen, I'm not getting off the Alabama train until it fully stops, and it's had some troubles.
Yes,
but it hasn't stopped yet. It is still rolling. We're playing 3 ranked teams back to back to back. Win all of them. I think we're fine. I think we can be all right. Ohio State is a team that may as well have lost a game before. Florida State may as well lose a game here or there. I think we can be fine if we win all of them. And other than that, my Oregon bandwagon is obviously done for now. Unfortunately, it shouldn't have been. I would love to get on the Notre Dame bandwagon because of the USC thing, and they damn near beat Ohio State, but they've lost 2 games, so that's also down.
Yeah, they're not going to the playoffs.
So I have to look for another alternative here, and I'm liking the North Carolina bandwagon.
Yeah, North Carolina, huh? Drake May, huh? That's another name that's going to be thrown into that draft class of quarterbacks, and he's going to be right up there, if not vying for the first round, then at latest number 2.
Yeah, I think you can make the argument for him to be the number 1 overall pick if you ignore Caleb Williams. Okay, other than Caleb Williams, because I think he's still the favorite.
Dude, it's gonna be so good. As far as the number 1 quarterback, Michael Penix. Yeah, I think he could beat out Caleb Williams by the end of the year if he continues playing like that. If they have some bad weeks, if they go through like what USC went through last week, then yeah, it could fall off the rails. But man, he is so good. Drake May is up there, dude. Shador Sanders up there. Bo Nix, even though he's a 5th-year guy, he's still gonna be mentioned amongst the first rounders. Wow, yeah, it's gonna be another 2018 all over again.
Yeah, it's gonna be a historic class. I really like Bo Nix.
Hey, and don't count out Carson Beck in that class either.
Yeah. It's gonna be loaded. We might have like 6 quarterbacks in the first round.
Absolutely.
It is feasible. After that year, like, we'll have to ask ourselves the questions, what team even is in need of a quarterback anymore? Like, we might see a time where the NFL is so saturated with quarterbacks that, like, what we think are average quarterbacks will actually be in danger of replacement. Yeah. Like, think about a team like the Vikings. Like, is Kirk Cousins in danger of replacement?
Well, I think they'll at least, at worst, they'll have the luxury of sitting an elite quarterback behind their veteran for a year or so before they take over. But yeah, Kirk Cousins could be out. The Patriots are wanting a new quarterback. The Raiders, the Buccaneers.
That's true. I guess there's always a lot of teams where, like, after a year or two kind of falls through and you look for the next guy. So I guess it'll never really be fully saturated.
Seahawks, yeah. Yeah, because even though they have reliable starters now, they all, have that glimmer in their eye for, I want one of those Josh Allens or a Patrick Mahomes, Need one of those guys. A Joe Burrow or a Tua.
Yeah. That is true. I'm still on the Alabama wagon. Don't fully trust it, but I have alternatives now. Unfortunately, Oregon's done for.
I mean, they should win out. LSU is going to be the only test they have left that can really give them a run. Jaden Daniels, that's another quarterback that's going to be in that list. Oh my God, that's going to be ridiculous. Wow.
Do we have this rule where if a team is undefeated for the whole season, they should make the playoff no matter what?
Yes, absolutely. Because you rarely get more than 2 to 3 teams that are completely undefeated by the end of the season. It rarely happens. I mean,
does that include the military schools?
Oh man, who is it? Is it Army that's on that road?
Air Force. Air Force might win out. They might win out.
Well, I mean, as we saw with Cincinnati, it doesn't have to be a Power 5 team. So, yeah, I mean, even Notre Dame is not actually part of a conference. They've always been considered a Power 5 team. They're not actually in a conference, so they don't have to play a championship game. Whenever they win out, they make the playoffs. We saw that in maybe it was 2018 or maybe 19, actually. No, I forgot what year that was. They got stomped out by Alabama like 30-3 in the first round of the playoffs. So that had to be 18. And then Alabama got beat by Clemson in a blowout in the championship game.
Exactly.
Trevor Lawrence put a whooping on them.
Air Force just beat the hardest opponent on their schedule. I mean, they could win out.
Oh, yeah, they could. And, patriotism and whatnot, they're going to be a lot of people begging for them to put those guys in there. I don't know because of the level of competition, though. I really don't know. At least Cincinnati they played Notre Dame in that year and beat them. So they had that going for them, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. For example, I don't think Ohio State's going to be in. I don't think they'll make it this year.
You don't think?
They looked suspect. They could have been out week 4. They had 70 points against Notre Dame. Might as well pass. They might lose this week. They might lose against Penn State.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, they are just now reaching their tough games. That's for sure. Penn State and Michigan are both coming up. They could take 2 losses and be out of the picture.
They may well lose one of those.
Yeah, Michigan hasn't played anybody good yet either, but the way they're blowing teams out, they just look unstoppable. But we'll see what happens when they play Penn State and Ohio State also.
I'm not. I guess Georgia can't really lose anymore.
Yeah, the toughest games are Tennessee. Missouri is actually playing really well this season, but I don't think they're going to be a threat. Yeah, they should.
Kind of scared about Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I'm scared about Oklahoma. Like, I'm scared that they will make it at the end.
Get blown out in the first round again.
Yeah, that's the
Dude,
word.
there was a run there from like 15 to 19 or whatever. It may have been 15 to 20 or 21. Something ridiculous where they made it to the playoffs every single year just to get beat up in the first round and kicked back out.
Mm-hmm.
The Lincoln Riley years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The Heisman factor.
It was like 5 years in a row, and people are just like, God, stop putting Oklahoma in the playoffs, please.
That's the Heisman factor.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
USC now, but that won't happen this year.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it'll be USC. I mean, they took a loss, but if they win out and win the Pac-12 championship, then they'll probably be talked about as going into that four. The good thing
I don't know.
The good thing
That was
is
a pretty bad loss.
It was. They got beat up pretty bad. Jesus. But the good thing is next season they're going to start a 12-team tournament for the playoffs, so we won't have to worry about things like that.
That's going to be amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
That'll be awesome to because now we can have so many fantasy brackets, put stuff together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, much more fun. I hate the 4-team playoff system because there's too many good teams that just get kicked to the wayside.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be some really good 2-loss teams that make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. 1 or 2 loss, and it's not the situation where you lose week 3 and it's you're out. Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Alabama for that.
Yeah, it's Texas. Texas is another. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma, but if they went out, they're going to be mentioned in that. They still have to beat Oklahoma again in the championship, so the winner of that will be the one that gets talked about. And it could be a Big Ten situation of last year, to where if Texas wins the next one, they both have 1 loss on their record, and they might both get in.
I somehow have a feeling that we'll have 4 undefeated teams this year.
You think we will or we won't?
We will. I think we will.
Wow.
I don't think you go in without. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm projecting one of them to be Air Force, so I still don't know if they would go in if they were.
That'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see. I know.
I think Michigan doesn't lose, if Georgia doesn't lose, and North Carolina shouldn't lose either.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see. I don't know. Maybe Washington is also undefeated. Who knows?
They are also undefeated, that's right. Mm-hmm. They play, who's the hardest? They play, I guess, USC? Or Oregon State? I don't know.
Yeah, they'll have to play both of them.
Their hardest game was Oregon. And they won it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
It'll be a close one. But I'm excited for the 12-team seeding. That's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Won't have to wonder about it anymore. They'll all get in.
Absolutely. All right, do we have anything to add here for the NFL predictions for this week?
I think that's it for this week.
All right, then. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Reminder again, on the channel page, you can vote for your favorite to win the MVP. If the season ended today, who do you think will get it? And let us know your picks for this week. With 6 teams on bye, we have a smaller slate this week going into week 7, but some good ones. A lot of tight games, so we're hoping for some disagreements in the comments. Let us hear what you think, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.